Boom.
Boom.
Is mic's on?
Mic on.
Yeah, we're mic's on.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our second discussion of the capture. We are going to be chatting this evening about the resurgence of film. So, quite the opposite, really, of our last conversation
Yeah, with AI.
with AI. So now we're going to, specifically talk about the resurgence of analog film in photography, which is something that you've not really dealt in, not for a while.
I started on film, but I haven't delved back into it since.
Sure.
Like I enjoy the cameras, but I haven't delved into it.
So,
Yeah, since professionally, I've never done it professionally after that. So yeah, be
since
interesting to see your thoughts.
Well, it's definitely been something that's been quite trendy in the wedding industry, especially in
Yeah.
the last few years. It's definitely been something that I've seen a resurgence in the wedding industry, where couples are now actively asking for parts of their day to be shot on analog film.
Oh, okay.
And I think it kind of reminds me of the resurgence of why vinyl is so popular.
Yeah.
That kind of nostalgic element to it. Do you enjoy vinyl?
Um,
Like,
I did. I didn't really have vinyl now, so it's yeah. I can understand the collection of the hobby wanting to collect things, but I don't really have the need to collect things.
d-
So
so do you think your mentality of vinyl, because maybe that's why I like analog film, because I also very much like vinyl.
yeah,
I just the comparisons of it is I know it's not really a show about music and vinyl. I think
literally just started and like really nipping it into music and into vinyl. Like
I think there's some crossover because I think people enjoy that nostalgic element, which I think they like
yeah,
with analog film. And I think um, in a time where everything's so AI driven, I wonder if that's the reason why couples are leaning into the idea of film is that it's y- less likely to be played with, manipulated with,
yeah.
less likely with Photoshop and AI to be involved in that. It's coming back to
Mm.
a more raw aesthetic element to it.
It's an interesting take on it. But before we start, before we get delved right into it, look, literally, I can't hold on to him. He's literally wants to get talking because this is your subject, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day.
I do really enjoy the idea
Before
of
we
film.
get started, though, let's draw it back. Let's draw it back. For those that don't know who we are,
Oh yeah,
let's do a little introduction
yeah,
because this is only our third show.
yeah.
Like, I know we went to the photography show, and we went to the photography show, and literally, the amount of people that recognised your face even though you haven't really done a lot there in a long time, you haven't really done a lot on YouTube apart from us now starting these live conversations and live demos. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, maybe we should introduce ourselves a little bit first for those new viewers because we also started today. We're now streaming on Twitch, which is
Yes.
a new thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm totally new to Twitch. We're gonna see if there's even an audience there for this thing.
hmm.
Um, we're going live to YouTube at the moment, so if you are listening to us on YouTube, or indeed if you are listening to us on Twitch, then do join in on the conversation this evening, because we'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. But as Graham said, for those of you that don't know us, um, I'm Tommy. I'm a wedding photographer. I've been based in the southeast all my life, and before weddings, I was more of a commercial photographer. But um, in in the last kind of few months, I've kind of dipping my toe back into that commercial world. So portrait, commercial, and wedding photographer, I guess, at the moment, as what I'm is my title.
Yeah, you can't do a mixture now. You're kind of messing around with like content and
Yeah,
video and
The 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 what's the word? The thing that is similar is it's always related to people.
yeah.
Whatever I do, it's people related. I don't really do product photography, food photography. I never like the idea of my client being a cheeseburger. Or, I want my client to be a real
Wow, you
person.
know that might be AI now. But for those that don't know who I am, um, I would say now I have been doing family and newborn photography for over 12 years. But now I'd classify myself as a portrait photographer. So, like Tommy, I am more focused on people because I have two companies now. one that's for family and family, newborn, and babies and maternity. And I've been running that for 12 years now. And over the last year and a half, I've now started Ascend Portraits, which started off its journey as being a fitness photography element to it, which it still has. But actually, I'm seeing it now more as a way of getting people to build up their confidence and build and having what I call empowerment photo shoots, where it's not about the photographs or the portraits itself, it's the whole experience from beginning to end. So because of that, I would now classify myself as a portrait photographer. Again, I don't do landscapes, I don't do animal life or anything like that. I literally do a mixture of different things, but it is all around people and portraits. And also I run the studio that we're in, B22 Studios, which me and Tommy use all the time now, which is great. So yeah, and I've been in the photography world for 20 years now. Since my first paid job was over 20 years, 21 years ago, to be precise, my first paid job now.
What was your first paid job out of interest?
My first, well, actually, interesting story about this. I don't want to go too much of a tangent. We need like a little
When you were modeling,
triangle.
was
It was
it?
modeling. Right. Has to do with modeling, actually.
Okay.
I was working at a nightclub in Rochester, and the manager's girlfriend at the time wanted to get into modeling. She heard I bought a nice camera and I was at uni. This was obviously during the summer break. I had a part-time job working at a nightclub in Rochester, and she wanted some photographs for a portfolio. I was like, "Oh, okay, fine, yeah." And then, funny enough, we never really agreed on a price. This was all kind of new to me. I was only 19 at the time, so I was like, "I'll just, yeah, if someone's going to pay me to do photographs, it's great." So we went and did these photographs for her modeling portfolio. Came out okay. Funny enough, it was just on a bridge camera. Wasn't even SLR because SLRs at the time were £1,200 minimum for the entry levels. So it was on the best bridge camera I could buy, about 600 quid or something at the time. But we never discussed a price.
Yeah.
And obviously oh, pardon me, being at uni at the time, I was like, oh, well, I was like, oh, it's a day, half a day plus editing, 250 quid.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, okay, what if I give you 10 bottles from the from the storage? What can you knock it down to? And I said, oh, 150 quid. So we got it down to 150 quid cash plus 10 bottles of whatever I wanted out of the storage. And I'm not talking the small bottles. These are the bottles, the 2 litre ones,
That are designed.
designed to go in the optics.
Yeah.
So the labels are the wrong way around.
Yeah.
So I instantly went for the JD because I knew that was the most expensive.
Of course.
So I had a few bottles of JD, Smirnoff vodka, all this kind of stuff. So literally after the summer break, didn't touch it. Literally after the summer break, we had the best freshers week ever.
Courtesy of Granby.
Thanks to me and my photography skills. So my first paid job was actually in money and alcohol at the time. And funny enough, the nice twist to that story is the model actually went on. She got approached by someone that worked for Ferrari,
Right.
and she actually did some modeling for a race team to do with Ferrari. I don't think it was the actual Formula One race team, but she did a bit of paid work after that with some sort of Ferrari race team or links to Ferrari,
Well,
which was quite cool.
obviously because of the portfolio images that she had,
Obviously.
was the whole reason she got as far as she had. So
Oh yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so yeah, my first paid job was doing portraits, but I got paid in money and alcohol. So what would a 19-year-old want more than that, really?
Um, and it was obviously digital. You mentioned you had a bridge camera. That was my first camera. Was a bridge camera. It was a Fujifilm S5 600. I can still remember the exact model.
Really?
And that was, and then I was Nikon, and then I moved to Canon. But my film journey, like I was, I guess for my age, I was on the cusp of when digital was not on the cusp actually.
Yeah.
But I've never picked up a film camera when it was only film camera. It's
Okay.
only I picked up film about 10 years ago. I think my first film camera I bought was the Canon AE1 program.
Okay.
35mm camera.
So you started on film after you'd already done paid work.
Yeah, I had
That's
it,
interesting.
but purely as a hobbyist, and it's only in recent in recent this year that I've been using film to be paid, actually being paid to
Paid
use
to use
film.
film.
Up
Yeah.
until now, it's been like the Ferrari you drive on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Never didn't have the confidence until now to use it and get paid to do it. It was purely as a hobbyist thing.
I
And this is
wonder if that plays into the whole fact of why you like film now. Because I started using film, my first like journey into even photography was film. So we had a camera club at school.
also you had a camera before the bridge camera.
Yeah. So my bridge camera was the first camera I bought that was for uni. So I was 18 at the time, 19 when I bought that camera. But prior to that, I had a little compact digital camera that came free with a laptop. And then before that, it was all film.
You got a digital camera that came free with a laptop.
Yeah. So I bought a laptop for you for the year before I went to uni. So my last year of sixth form college, I bought a laptop with the money that I saved up working at Asda.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I got a little compact camera, digital compact camera that came free, which was like a big thing at the time.
Yeah.
So the laptop, I can remember it was about £1,500, which would get you a very good laptop nowadays. But back then, that was just sort of like a basic laptop was that kind of price. But the reason it was a good bargain is because you got it was £350 camera and it was shockingly bad, but it came free like compared to say so. And it had a one of the old XD cards, Fuji XD, tiny little
Yes,
cards. If
of
anyone
course.
remembers them, the XD cards. So that was my first digital camera. Was probably that was when I was 17. Prior to that, we had a camera club at school because we had a dark room. So my
Nice.
first journey into film was when I was 14, when I was sort of developing my own film at school, part of the camera club. I was using kind of like cameras that are hand-me-downs and that sort of thing, and I
That's
was
so cool
shooting
that you
film.
had a dark
So I
room
started
at school. So primary, like, no,
secondary school.
secondary
Yeah,
school.
secondary school.
Yeah.
So 14, 15, it was a regular sort of thing. They moved it into the art curriculum as well, but there was an actual after-school club as well, which was quite cool.
That's really cool. I never had a dark room at school.
Really?
My dark room, my first experience of using a dark room was when I actually paid to go on a day course and or watching YouTube videos and buying all the stuff to develop it myself at home.
Really?
But that's really Steve, did you ever producer Steve, did you ever have a dark room at your school? No, no. No, I had I
Okay.
did GCSE photography, but it was taught from a very artistic point of view, and we didn't use film. It was using digital cameras, weren't even using SLRs. They were just digital cameras. It was more an artistic point of view about how artistic can you make the image in Photoshop. It was less
Yeah.
about the technicality of it, and that's why I ended up doing film production at uni because I wanted more of a technical point of view, and I
Mm.
was quietly hoping that we would go into film when I was doing GCSE photography, but we never did.
Yeah.
But you
No,
obviously did.
I started on that. It was more of a hobby type thing, just getting into it. But yeah, we didn't have photography A levels, we didn't have photography in secondary school. So we did media studies, and that's when I first started using Photoshop. So I started using Photoshop when I was 16.
You said
So 24 years ago.
you didn't do photography at secondary school,
No, there wasn't a course,
but
wasn't around,
but
didn't
you had a
exist.
dark room.
We had a dark room, yeah.
So you had a what? You had a
It
dark
was
room
quite
at school, but not a course to
to
do any
do
teaching.
photography.
So
No,
who
there
was
was no
using?
photography course because it wasn't part of the curriculum. There was no A level
So what was the dark
photography.
room
There was
used
no
for?
art. It was part of the
It
art
was part of
department.
the art.
It's part of the art department.
The dark. I
So
don't.
the dark room would have been used for loads of different things, not just film. It probably would have been
Oh,
used for sort of that you can get sheets of paper that are sensitive to light.
yes.
So you can do the whole sort of put leaves on top of it, bright light on it, take it off, all that kind of stuff. So they would have used it for that sort of thing. But it was it was quite a fairly substantial sized room.
I can't believe they
Have a
even
dark
thought about making that part of the curriculum
but there
for
wasn't a
photography.
course. It wasn't like the school could decide to make a
Right.
curriculum. You know, the government have to do it. The educational department has to choose to do a course. It's only in recent years has A level photography sort of become a
Mm.
thing, and now it's obviously in GCSEs and bits like that as well. So, but yeah, there's a couple of comments. Let's have a quick look. Oh, King Cookery School. So hi James, how are we doing?
James,
You all right? Good evening all. Is that like the one you're getting from me? Which lights? This one? But no, you can't have it.
it's a very good light source. You can see, I don't know if you're eagle-eyed there, James. We've changed the lighting slightly from the last conversation. Now it's more of this kind of cinematic where we've pushed it back. So,
I think it looks quite cool.
what'd you think?
Let's have a quick look. Kirsty, I love photography on film, but I just love uh, photography on digital because you have more control over the image compared to photographing on film, where you have to have it spot on in camera. That's an interesting take.
Yeah,
So how do you feel about that?
well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think the why I like film is because when you do get it right, there's a better sense of reward for having gone through the motions
Yeah,
where it's it's easy to correct your mistake in digital, especially if you shoot raw.
mm,
Whereas with film, there's picking the film stock and then exposing that film stock correctly. You might intentionally under or overexpose it, but then it doesn't stop there. Then it's getting the film out of the camera, out of the canister, then developing it,
yeah,
and then you then scanning it, printing it. All of these steps in a process to get your scan could go wrong.
yeah.
But if they don't, but if it all goes well, that's when I get the greatest sense of reward, is that you've gone through those motions
Yeah,
to
I
get it.
kind of guess it's a bit like cooking. I'm going to push back on this a little bit, right? Because Dan told us last time we didn't really push each other enough. So I'm going to push you on this
Mm.
because we're friends. I don't mean it in a nasty way, or might do. Um, but I haven't touched film since started doing professional photography. Um, I do like, this is my thing. I do like the way that black and white film looks.
Yeah.
And when we were at Jessop's together, because it was cheap to develop
Hmm.
and we could get it done there, we can buy the film, it was really nice. I love it. I love the look of the black and white. But,
Oh, sorry, go on. I
but,
was gonna push you back then. Go on.
okay.
Go on.
But I haven't touched it since. One, because it's too expensive for
Hmm.
what it is per frame now. I think if it was cheaper, then I might do it a little bit more. But there's nothing that I could do on film that I can't do on digital. So why go to film? I know the same thing with vinyl. The thing I like about vinyl, and I like how you mentioned vinyl,
Mm.
it's nice to have the collection there.
Yeah.
So you've got the covers, you've got the artwork.
Yes.
It looks great. I can appreciate that.
Hmm.
I'm not a collector really in anything. Maybe a collector in people's portraits.
Yeah.
Maybe but I'm not really I'm not really a collector of anything. But I could appreciate people collecting vinyl because of the artwork. When it comes to film though, I don't unless you enjoy the process
Mm.
of developing the film, I don't see the point. Like if I if I'm doing a professional headshot, why would I choose film when I could do such a you know a quicker and easier job for the client on digital?
I think it depends on what type of photography you're shooting. Um, but before I kind of move on to that, you said you really like the look of black and white.
Yeah,
So why do you like the look of black and white film?
I I think it's because the grain and the tonal range,
Hmm.
but I think the black and white film I was shooting back then was so the last time I touched film would have been 2012. So I'm talking 14 years ago.
Hmm.
Okay. So 14 years ago, that's the last time I touched film and did film. And cameras have come on such a long way in
Sure.
14 years in terms of the tonal range, the grain, and everything like that, that I don't know if I now, using modern day cameras, especially the medium format cameras that Fuji are bringing out and their color range, which is fantastic, compare medium format Fuji to digital to film. I don't know if I'll be able to see a difference now.
Between medium format Fuji digital
Digital and film, black and white film.
and
Like
black and white film.
I don't like obviously I've not compared it. I've not done that analysis, but maybe we should do. Maybe that would be a nice little
Yeah,
project for us to do.
that could be good.
But we just need someone with a medium format Fuji. But yeah, Fuji to allow us to have one. Um, but yeah, I don't think there could be a comparison. Even now with my normal Sony, and I turn it to black and white, there's not. I'd have to be very eagle-eyed to see the difference.
You mentioned that you said unless you enjoy the process,
Yeah,
would you not like the idea of going through the motions of doing the process? Does that not appeal to you?
that does not appeal to me anymore. I think it's because I've done it so long in Jesseps, having a wet lab, doing that, getting all the chemicals right. I don't think I would enjoy that process anymore. I don't. It was enjoyable at the time because it was the excitement of seeing the photograph come to life. But I still get that enjoyment now when I do a creative portrait shoot as part of like my Send portraits or something like that. I get the experience now for me as a photographer from being creative, doing something different, changing up the lighting,
Mm.
outfits, backdrops, all those kind of things. Not the actual process of the editing or in your case, the processing of the
Yeah.
film.
I think another reason I enjoy film is it allows me to slow down, and knowing that I only have 36 exposures or even 12 exposures if I'm shooting on my medium format,
Hmm.
it allows me to slow down but be way more intentional about an image, especially on a wedding day. If I'm if I'm if I'm at the part of the day where I'm doing a couple portrait moment, it's very easy on digital on a wedding day to go and use your camera as a machine gun,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll capture the moment there. But with film, it allows you to be more intentional. I find that I was going to say directing, but I give prompts. There's definitely more intention about I want this shot to look right, to be right.
Yeah.
And I think if maybe if you had the mindset shooting digital, um, that if you were told you've only got 36 frames to get this right, maybe you'd take a bit more time. You'd assess, go, do I need to tweak that key light a touch? Do I need to tweak that composition a touch? And I have found that shooting film has made me a better photographer because of that, because I've been able to be more intentional. So when I do have the digital camera in my hand, during the couple portraits where it's arguably a bit slower, I do try and almost pretend that I've got the film camera in my hand all the time so that I can be very intentional. And again, as I say, it's allowed me to slow down.
Yeah.
We'll get onto the look, but in terms of the physical, and plus they look cool. I mean, they just look beautiful. When you get at like the Canon 81 program, my first film camera, I still use it on a wedding day, but I also have the medium format as well. So when you compare those scans,
Mm.
um, the scans on a medium format just look amazing. It's the grain, it's the texture, it's the quality. It's something that I don't think that can be replicated with film. It's the highlight fall off. It's the colors that if you get a stock that you like. For me, it's Kodak Portra. I did very much enjoy Fuji Pro 400H when it was around, but the closest one to that is Portra. But yeah, you are right. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Those particular stocks are, to be fair, but you can get cheaper stocks to kind of um, not get as good of Portra, but there's Kodak Gold, which is a fairly recent one. That's a pretty good one, and it's not as nowhere near as expensive. So if you were dipping your toe into film, then Kodak Gold is a great one. It's not as expensive as
Mm.
Portra. Um, um, and if you don't enjoy that process or you're worried about it, you can of course send it to a lab. And if you get a
Yeah.
good lab, then you can be quite hands-on in terms of how you want it processed.
But is it because of so going back to our question of the resurgence, why is there a resurgence in film? And it's quite interesting. I've obviously just learned that you started film after being a professional, whereas I had the opposite.
Yes.
I started film and then I went into digital, and I used film a couple of times for a professional job. That's it. Early on, I haven't used it in years. I wonder if that's one of the reasons why, because a lot of people nowadays are going back to things they never had in their childhood. So people in their, early mid 20s are seeing a resurgence in film, vinyl, stuff like that, because it hasn't been digitally altered, like you said. That maybe the reason why people are going to film is because they just never experienced it.
Hmm.
And the experience of having a film, like you said, having a certain amount of frames, that's all you get. Having even the disposable cameras when
Yeah.
we went on holiday,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. We had that experience when we were younger. Some people now have never had that experience, have never had a VHS tape or an audio tape or anything like that, or even people now that have never like really used DVDs.
Yeah.
Never owned a DVD player.
My son asked me that the other day.
Really?
Yeah, he said, "What's that?"
What's that?
It's a DVD. Never mind. He's
Never
stupid.
mind.
I'm not going to explain.
Yeah, it's very much fine. But is it because it's one of those things that just at the moment is a trend? It's because it looks flashy,
Yep.
because it's kind of expensive
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of expensive to develop your film, expensive film. It's kind of just a little bit, there's a touch of, I'm not saying it is, a touch of snobbery kind of things. Like, oh, I'm shooting film. Oh, I've gone back to film. I've learned how to use film.
I think to an extent
know?
that's a fair comment. I think that is to a degree. But I do think the price does reflect that snobbery it's because it is so expensive, especially if you are if you're I mean if you want to buy a pack of five rolls of Kodak Portra, you're looking at least £100.
Yeah.
So you are seeing it in a more premium wedding photographers for that reason because it's expensive. So I wonder if couples like the nostalgia, but they also are aware of how expensive it is, and
Yes.
it feels luxurious and a premium thing to have. We're having parts of our day shot on film
It's a
because
bragging rights.
it's a bragging
Bragging
right.
rights.
Of
Yeah.
course, everyone's having their wedding shot on digital, but how many of their weddings are being shot on film? Obviously, post digital. Um, but also Polaroids as well. That's technically a film format, and people love the idea of Polaroids because you have the instant print, which again is something that people don't do that much of anymore.
And
Is print their work.
And if you never experienced that in the 80s and 90s, having the Polaroid picture, and by the way, do not shake them. That's not how you're meant to actually use them.
Yes,
Ignore the songs.
absolutely. Yeah.
You're meant to put it in a little box, little dark box, and wait for it to develop.
I don't know if this is true. I think Polaroid sued Outcast. I'm going to have to fact check that, Steve. I could be completely making that up. I think he's going to check it now. I think Polaroid sued Outcast because of that line
Really?
in AR.
Because it ruined so many people's photos.
I
Probably.
mean, the amount of times I see it at weddings and I think about going up. You do realize shaking it actually ruins the image.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're listening, don't shake your Polaroid. Don't shake it like a Polaroid picture
Yeah.
because it will actually ruin it. Do the opposite effect.
Yeah.
I think people think it develops faster when you do it.
Because you're drying it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point. Yeah. It's like when I go to events and people are like, "Oh, don't touch the print because it's ink, like ink." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, it's done by heat, so it's fine." You can touch it straight away. It's fine. Ink is like that. It's like ink. It's like, no, no, it's fine. You can touch it. It's done by heat, not not actual ink.
Would you able to get any facts on that, Steve?
Probably not. So let's see if there's any more comments.
Supercast. Instead, following the 2003 hit Hey Ya, which featured the line Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture, Polaroid issued a statement in 2004 explaining that shaking, which was not necessary for modern film and could cause image distortion.
Okay, so for those of you that didn't hear that, no, they weren't sued. They instead Polaroid just brought out a statement in 2004,
Yeah.
2004, stating the fact that shaking it won't develop faster and it will actually make it worse.
I'm just going to check something quickly. You carry on.
I think we're having a couple of technical